Hugh, the Phillies are playing really good baseball. 7-0 win last night. Sanchez was really good, only gave 1 hit in 6 innings. We'll get to our new lockdown reliever, but the Bats, Hugh, they have now scored in their last 10 games 7 or more runs 7 times. That's big-time offense. They're making contact. They're not swinging out of the zone. There's enough power in there. Bryce is starting to heat up. Trey's been on a heater, obviously, for a couple weeks now. There's depth throughout the lineup. They're 21-15. This is the best I have felt about the Phillies since after that Dodgers series. Right when the Dodgers came in, they beat them 2 out of 3, and we came in here and said this looks different. And then for about 3 weeks, it was like, it doesn't look right. They're starting to win me back over. This is good baseball right now. 215-592-9494. Hugh, where are you at on the Phillies as they win again? They get another series. By the way, they've played 12 series because they already won this series, right? They took the first 2.
Yeah, they're going for the sweep.
Right. So they've played 12 series now. They're 8-3-1 in series. So they've done a nice job.
They took care of the business.
They have 21-15. Are the Phillies winning you back over, Hugh Douglas?
I was never gone.
You're a doubting Douglas.
I was never gone. I am the voice of the people.
Oh, okay.
I try to channel the people when I drop the wisdom that I drop on this station about baseball and other things. Probably not so much hockey this year because I blew that.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Mammoth, though. You see that? The Utah Mammoth?
It's pretty cool. It's a cool logo.
Well, it is.
Yeah.
But is it Mammoth or Mammoths?
I think it's Mammoth.
So that's supposed to be like the plural? Because I thought Mammoths sound better to me than Mammoth, Utah Mammoth. Because I know it says Mammoth.
I think they're the Utah Mammoth.
They are but doesn't I think of Utah Mammoths?
We'll get back to this.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
The plural is supposed to be mammoths.
I think it's mammoths, right? Because it's more than one. I'm sorry. It happens. But anyway, back to the Phillies. But yeah, I was never out. I watch baseball like this. I understand and I respect the fact that most fans watch and live and die with every pitch, and their emotional state fluctuates from game to game. That's not the way I choose to watch baseball, and it works well for me because, in my twilight years, I don't really like to be that emotional about the sports. I'm super competitive, and I try to not be as competitive because that can be a little taxing. So I just tend to watch. And I just tend to enjoy it. Can I tell you something last night? I've had a few pop moments in the last couple of days.
Oh, we know. But you got what'd you do last night?
The Brandon Marsh thing yesterday that I told you about this morning.
I heard about that, yeah.
The Tyler Hero thing.
Well, yeah,
Yeah, I know. I'm a mess.
Yeah, that's
but this is the most egregious.
Good. Cooper Flagg and Tyler Hero, man.
This is the most egregious. So I watched the Phillies last night, right? I watched the game, and I watched that offensive explosion.
7 runs.
And I watched my man Christopher Sanchez do his thing.
Yep.
And I watched the reliever do his thing.
Dominant reliever.
Do you know, when I got up this morning, I usually turn on television and I watch, the local news or whatever, and they were talking about the dominant pitcher, the closer, right? So I'm in there and I'm brushing my teeth. And I knew Christopher Sanchez started the game, right? So, you're listening. You got it on in the back and you're listening.
Sure.
And they kept saying Taiwan Walker's name. And I was like, why are they saying Taiwan Walker's name? Now, mind you, I watched the game last night. It didn't dawn on me till this morning that was Taiwan Walker in the closer spot with those 3 phenomenal innings that he had.
7 strikeouts? You know why? I'm going to give you a pass on this. You know why? We've never seen him pitch like that in the Phillies uniform. That was big-time relief pitching.
He pitched angry.
Yes, he did.
You don't understand the Space Cadet moment that I had.
Well, we do a show with him.
I guess you can. Well, I guess you can.
The audience knows what that's all about.
So I'm watching and I'm like, wait a minute. Wow. And then I was like, yeah, I was right. I called that.
Oh, so you didn't know what was going on and then immediately said, you know what? Actually, I knew all along.
No, I called that.
Yeah, I got that. Well, you know what? Yeah. We'll do more on Taiwan because that looked really good last night. 215-592-9494. Are the Phillies starting to win you back over? Are they winning you back over? They're winning a lot of baseball games right now. A couple weeks ago, we came in here after they got swept by the Mets. They were 13-12.
And was upset.
Yes, and I said that day, and I meant it and felt it that day, that there was disaster potential. Like, if they didn't start playing better, maybe they were going to have a year way below what we thought, right? If the range was 88 to 100 wins, just based on our callers and our expectations for the season. Just some people were really high, some people more on they'll be good but not great kind of range. I said that day when they got swept by the Mets, and they were 13-12, I said there's another path here. There's another way this could go, and it could be more like low 80s, like 500. And since then, the Phillies have played really good baseball since getting swept by the Mets. And then they lost that first one in Chicago. So they actually did lose. They did drop to 500. Since then, they're 8-2. They're 8-2 in their last 10 games. They have rebounded from their worst stretch of the season. This is good baseball right now. 215-592-9494. Can we hear from Dombrowski, Dave Dombrowski, talking about his team right now compared to where they were when that Mets series had happened earlier in April?
Well, I think we're playing better. I think really the really bad series we had was the Mets series. We didn't play very well during that series. I'm not really sure why. We just they just looked like they were playing better than we were at that time. But then coming out of there and then going to Chicago, which is a tough place to play, and then going back at home, we've played a lot better during that time period. I think it's a combination of factors. We're scoring more runs. We've scored. Our starting pitching is back in a routine. Now, Ranger didn't have a good outing the other day. And our bullpen has actually pitched better, too. So we're starting to gel a little bit more. Some of our big guys, Trey, started to play very well. Max Kepler started to play better for us. You can see some of the guys, getting a little bit better as time goes on. So, and Schwartz just keeps on swinging the bat like crazy. But we're playing better baseball. We just now need to keep it up because, as you know, our league is a very, very tough league this year.
Sherbert been on base every single game this year, by the way.
Been on fire.
He has been. Harper's getting hotter here. Trey has played really well for 2 weeks. Look, there's 4 elements to every baseball team, and you got to be good at 3 or 4 of them to be really good. You got to have the offense, starting rotation, the bullpen, and defense. I've just accepted this isn't a very good defensive team, right? They're going to hopefully
they're going to make mistakes.
Yeah, and they're not. That's
but if you keep getting that kind of pitching, you're getting.
Yes, they're not built to be a very good defense team. Yeah. I've accepted that. But the offense has been really hot. It's again 7 times in the last 10 games they've scored 7 runs. That'll work. The rotation we've never really worried about, right? That's their strength. They have a strong starting rotation with Wheeler and Sanchez and Luzardo go tonight. And then Sanchez last night, 1 hit in 6 innings. The bullpen, and that part of it was Taiwan last night. The bullpen's been much better, I would say, the last 2 weeks. Now not all of them. Kirkering's still up and down, but for the most part, there's been very few blow-ups the last 2 weeks out of the bullpen.
Yeah, and you talk about what Taiwan brought to the table last night, man. He pitched angry. He looked a little upset.
I loved it.
And he was focusing. And from what I've been told about being in a closer's role, you don't have to pace yourself. You can just let it rip. Mm-hmm. And it was obvious last night because I think a couple times he damn near hit 100 on the gun.
I mean, he had more velocity last night than I've seen him have here in Philadelphia. 215-592-9494. This is as good as I felt about the Phillies in weeks. Are they winning you back over? I say yes. Hugh says he never had to be won back over.
Never had to be won back over.
Doubting Douglas over here.
Yeah,
I took the pledge.
No.
I took the pledge.
We know the truth.
I took the pledge.
Everyone heard you laugh at the pledge.
I laugh all the time.
The pledge.
You giggle through
I'm always
disgusting.
A very important moment.
I always smile.
Yeah, you could smile, but
I be smiling all
you
the
did
time.
take it seriously. Kyle, are the Phillies winning you back over?
Yeah, the last few games, and specifically last night, was really the first time this season that I started to see the complete product, the full picture. If you zoom out on this year, it's been really one bad stretch. And it was a bad stretch, and I felt terrible about the team. Mm-hmm. And since I took the pledge, I held them accountable as such.
Me too.
No, you did not. Mm-mm. You did not.
But it feels like it's starting to come together. The Phillies they're 21-15 now, and Bryce Harper really hasn't fully gotten going yet. Mm-hmm. Their best offensive player. You're starting to see a little bit of power come out. Trey Turner's doing what I think he's meant to do this year. You're starting to see him run a little bit.
He got some wheels, man.
Yeah, he's hitting.
That's why he's a shortstop.
Yeah, and he turned on a pitch last night for the first time in weeks.
He's hitting 300. Maybe Boehm's starting to click for Alec Boehm. Schwarber's doing Schwarber things, and like you mentioned, the bullpen's getting better. But now we're starting to get those contributions from the unlikely places. Johan Rojas, the safety squeeze, getting some small ball. Taiwan Walker, going crazy in the bullpen. That was awesome to see. They're starting to look like a well-rounded baseball team, and I'm really starting to feel again, because I felt this way earlier in the season after they beat the Dodgers. It is starting to feel like this could be different, especially if they make the right moves at the deadline.
They settled back in. They've settled in the season. I feel like the Phillies have found themselves now. They kind of found the way they want to do their lineup, the way they want to structure the rotation now with Ranger back. They've found themselves, and Kyle's right. They've done all this without Bryce getting hot. Now, he had a couple hits last night, and I thought he hit the ball better. But, I mean, we're probably due here soon for a Bryce Harper power streak.
Feels that way.
Yeah, if he's going to get to his normal numbers, we're probably going to have a 7-home-run month sooner than later. So maybe that's coming soon. Add it to everything else. The Phillies are starting to win me back over.